Hello, Tashidelek. Welcome back to Dharma sharing after almost 5 months now. And I feel very fortunate that I'm able to continue these teachings. And especially in this month of Sagadawa, just like last year, this year also we are trying to resume these teachings in this special month of Sagadawa, which is a very auspicious and important month according to Buddhists. Because we believe that Buddha was born, enlightened, and went into parinirvana in this month of Sagadawa. So for that reason, it is very important to accumulate merits as much as possible in this month of Sagadawa. And one way of accumulating merit is through listening the teachings and trying to contemplate the meaning of the teachings so that you'll be able to implement these teachings in your day-to-day life. So this is very important. And because of that reason, I feel very fortunate that I'm able to continue to share this Dharma. The beautiful instructions by Lord GAMPOPA in his book called The Jewel Ornament of Liberation. And as a Dharma practitioner, we always need to recall ourselves. We always need to renew our Bodhichitta, the genuine mind that wishes to bring happiness for others and to clear the suffering of others. So because of these two, seeing the suffering of others and wanting to free them from the suffering, the cause of suffering, this is what we need to practice. This is what is taught by the Buddha, how we can eliminate the cause of suffering and thereby bringing sentient beings into happiness. So because of our collective karma, as a result of our collective karma, we have witnessed this pandemic for almost 2 years now. And whatever Buddha has taught in his teachings, we have really witnessed the suffering of samsara with our own eyes, with our this lifetime, even more vivid than before. So by taking this pandemic as an example, we really feel the importance of concern and care for others, care for each other. We are interconnected. This pandemic has shown us very vividly that we are all interconnected and how our body, speech, and mind actions of our body, speech, and mind really matters other sentient beings. So more than before, we need to generate loving kindness and compassion for sentient beings stronger and more diligently. So obviously, we also need to feel fortunate that we are still alive. I'm still alive here, trying to share this Dharma, and you have done your best part from your side. So we really feel now that what Buddha have taught about the precious human body, how this body is precious, how this time is precious. So we should not waste, this precious body and our time with samsaric activities or just to gain name and fame and competitions and so on and so forth. So this pandemic has actually awakened us or alarmed us that we should really focus on our practice and we should really focus on the importance of bodhicitta for ourselves and for all other sentient beings. Since we all live in this same planet, we all share our values and we all are in the same condition. So our activities of body, speech, and mind really matters other individuals, other society, other nations. So because of that reason, it is very important to recall the Buddha's teachings and practice them more stronger than before. Okay, having said that, we try to continue from where we stopped last year and the beautiful instructions by GAMPOPA. And before we do so, we need to recall these different topics, what we have learned so far and what we are going to learn next chapter. So this words of wisdom by GAMPOPA is actually divided by 6 different main topics. And these are, so we should understand there are 6 main topics that GAMPOPA is trying to enlighten us with his words of wisdom. So the first one is the primary cause. So if one individual who really want to free his or herself from the suffering of samsara, and one really wants to attain perfect Buddhahood, then what are the things that he or she requires? And the first, most important thing is the primary cause, whether this individual has had the primary cause to be able to enlighten himself or herself. So we need to see this. And here GAMPOPA mentions that yes, we do have this primary cause. If you want to attain enlightenment, so GAMPOPA said that if anyone wants to attain enlightenment, he or she or any one of us would need to have this primary cause to able to attain enlightenment. And then this primary cause is the Buddhahood or the Buddha nature for the Buddhahood. And this Buddha nature is, as said by Buddha himself, and GAMPOPA here again says we all have this Buddha nature. And since we have this primary cause or the seed, then if we implement this cause, if you utilize this cause in the proper way, then you definitely will attain enlightenment. So there's no doubt. So this is one of the very good news, that we will be able to free ourselves from the suffering of samsara, and then we'll be able to attain enlightenment. So this is the first topic that GAMPOPA talked about, the importance of the first primary cause, that is the Buddha nature, Tathagata Garbha. Then the second topic is this, the precious human body, or the to be able to utilize this primary cause, what kind of vessel or basis we need. So the working basis here is the precious human body, the precious very human body that we have learned the importance of this precious human body, the qualities of this precious human body has. So leisures and endowments, 8 leisures and 10 endowments, which makes our precious our body a precious human body. So this also we have learned. So this is the second topic that GAMPOPA mentioned in his book, Ornament of Liberation. Then we have this third topic, which is known as the Contributory Course. So even though we have this Buddha nature, and even though we have attained this precious human body, but if you do not have someone who show you the path, or who really teach you how to operate this, primary cause and working basis, then you are helpless. So therefore, the third topic here important is the Contributory Course, and that is the our precious teachers, our root gurus and our lineage gurus, who really taught us. Even Buddha is not here in our time. We are born after 2,500 years back, and who relate us to the Buddha's teaching is our teachers. So therefore, the contributory, the teachers and our root gurus and the gurus of the lineage have the greatest responsibility to pass down the Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's teachings upon us. So therefore, this is considered as the third topic, which is known as the Contributory Course. That is our precious teachers. And the fourth topic that GAMPOPA mentioned here is the method. So, okay, you have this precious human body, you have the primary cause, that is Buddha nature, and you have attained precious teachers. But then if teacher has not taught you how to walk on path, how to attain paths and bhumis, and how to liberate from the suffering of samsara, then that really doesn't really help. So what we need in order to fulfill our wish to benefiting sentient beings and attain enlightenment is that we need to know the method of doing so. So the method here are taught by our precious teachers. The words of our precious teachers, just like these instructions that we are now trying to understand from GAMPOPA. So these are the methods, it will instruct us how one should be implementing these teachings, how one should deal with different afflicted emotions, negative affliction emotions, and disturbance, obscurations, how we can purify our obscurations, how we can walk on paths and bhumis. All these different kind of instructions are known as the method. These are the method. If implemented, we'll be able to reach our destination, that is Buddhahood, and for the benefit of sentient beings. Then we have this fifth topic, which is the result of itself. After implementing this method, the method that is very given by our precious teachers, with the use of our precious body, having the primary cause of Buddha nature, then if you implement these methods, definitely you'll be able to witness the result, and that is known as the result. What kind of result you'll be attaining after this practice of the Dharma. So that's the fifth topic. And finally, the sixth topic is the Buddha activity. So after attainment of Buddhahood, then what will he or she do? He or she will automatically, naturally, will benefit sentient beings. Why? Because when they give rose to Bodhichitta, they have, kind of make commitment that they will benefit sentient beings. Their very wish to practice Dharma is to benefit sentient beings. That is why, in Bodhichitta, we have two objectives. One is to bring sentient beings into nirvana, or purify their sufferings, or benefit sentient beings. And the second one is, in order to do that, one need to attain Buddhahood. So there we have two objectives. One is benefiting sentient beings, and the second one is attainment of Buddhahood. So because of that two commitment that we made before, so when we witness this result from our practicing the method that is given to us by our precious teachers with this precious human body, then definitely we'll be able to share this Dharma for the benefit of others. Buddha's activity will flourish into four directions in order to benefit sentient beings. So these are the 6 main topics that GAMPOPA is talking in his book called Ornament of Liberation. So among these 6 topics, we have completed the 4 above, and now we are focusing on the 5th one. That is we are now focusing on the 4th one. That is the method itself. How one can attain enlightenment. What are the ways and how one should be following these trainings, these teachings, these methods. So in the topic of method, GAMPOPA did mention that he have said that yes, we have this primary cause, that is Buddha nature. We have obtained walking basis, that is the precious human body. We have also attended the contributory course, that is the teacher, your masters, gurus. But why are we still in samsara? Why are we still suffering in samsara? That's the question that he raised. And he said that yes, because of 4 different reasons that we are still in samsara and suffering, experiencing different types of suffering of samsara. And he said the first one is because we are too overpowered. We are overpowered by the attachment towards this lifetime. So we are being attached to these lifetimes. We pay so much importance to this lifetime's achievement. So we forget Dharma. Or we pay very less time for Dharma, and then we pay more attention to this lifetime's achievements. This lifetime's, working for our daily life, taking care of our family, friends, spouse and children, office, job, fame. We are too busy, we are too engaged in developing or trying to, gain this different sources to make our life better, which in general term, which is not bad at all. Obviously, if you want to have good life, you need to take care of your life. You need to take care of your children, family, spouse. All these things are generally not too bad. But what happens that if you are too much attached to this, if you utilize all of your time with this, making this life beautiful, making this life better, and then by that one day you'll have limitations of this precious human body. Then what happens is then you have not saved any time of this precious human body for generations of bodhicitta, loving kindness and compassion, accumulations of merits, and doing charity works for others. All this you have not saved this precious human body time for these beneficial things to accomplish these virtuous merits. So that is why GAMPOPA said this is the reason why we are still suffering in samsara, because even though if you have implemented, if you have put all your efforts, money, time for making this life beautiful, then what happens is then this is not something permanent. You need to leave all these things behind and then go to next destination. And that depends on our karma. Whatever things that we have done in this life will lead us to the destinations of our next lifetime. This is according to Buddha's instruction. So therefore, GAMPOPA said that if you attach too much to these lifetimes, that's not so beneficial, not very beneficial, because the reason is that everything, whatever you're experiencing here in this lifetime, making it so beautiful, making it this lifetime permanent, but it does not stay like that. It will have its limitations. It will expire. It will fall down. It will depart. That is knowing of the impermanence nature. So GAMPOPA said, because of being too attached to these life's activities, we are still suffering in samsara. So in order to eliminate this attachment, these obstacles, what we need to do is we need to focus on the studies of impermanence, thinking that nothing, this all the sense importance that we have paid to will not last forever, and this all are subject to change, and our expectations are sometimes are not fulfilled, and sometimes we think we are doing good for others, but then as the result we turn into something different. So these are impermanent. There are no guarantee of these activities. So rather than wasting all your precious human body for making this life beautiful, why don't you also make a time for your benefit, for your peace of mind, and for your future life, as well as this lifetime, by benefiting others. This will give you more source of happiness, internal happiness. If you are able to benefit so many beings without condition, without expectation, that will have more internal value and more joyfulness, rather than expecting someone in return. And if that does not happen, then you get disappointed. You are destroyed with your emotion, feelings, and all. So therefore, the knowledge of impermanence is very important. So to remedy this attachment towards this lifetime is to learn the nature of impermanence. Then the second reason GAMPOPA gave here why we are still stuck in samsara, even though we have this precious human body, even though we attend masters, and even though we have this primary course of Buddhahood, is that because we are too much attached to samsara, pleasure of samsara. And to eliminate this obscurations, he told us to focus on the suffering of samsara, and which we know there are 6 different types of, realms, and each have their own sufferings, and others are not visible to us, but to our human being and animal realm, they are very visible to us, and we can see the different types of sufferings. And likewise here in the human term as well, we can see the suffering of sickness, suffering of aging, suffering of diet, suffering of departing from your close ones, suffering of not having need to engage with someone that you do not really like. All this type of sufferings are there. So it is always good to know this beforehand than to regret in the future or in later. So therefore, these are also very important subject that one should implement and concentrate. Then the third obstacle here, why are we still stuck in samsara, is because of our attachment to the peace of nirvana. So this is not too bad, because this is also one kind of attainment, that you are free from suffering of samsara, but then on the other hand, you are too attached to the pleasure of nirvana. So therefore, you are focusing on your own self-benefit. You are just, avoiding the benefit of others, avoiding the happiness of others. So this is also one kind of obscuration here in the path of liberation, complete and perfect liberations of Buddhahood. So therefore, GAMPOPA said that you also need to overcome this obscuration. And how you can overcome this obscuration is through the practice of generating loving kindness and compassion towards all sentient beings. So if you really have genuine concern, love, and compassion towards all sentient beings, then you would not stay in a isolated, peaceful state of mind just for yourself. You will also feel the same load. You also feel the same value of others. Just like you want to be happy, they are all countless sentient beings who also wish to be happy. So by thinking that, you'll be able to develop loving kindness and compassion for them. So therefore, in order to eliminate this attachment towards nirvana, pleasure of nirvana, you need to develop loving kindness and compassion towards all sentient beings, thinking that I and all sentient beings are equal, wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. I and sentient beings will have same kind of opportunity to attain enlightenment. I and sentient beings all have the primary cause, that is Buddha nature. So why should I not help them? Or you can also think like that my very survival in this world depends on all other beings that are near to me, that are surrounded to me, are surrounded by myself. So you have this all different types of interconnections. You need to depend upon so many things in order to survive. And these all different things that you consume in order to survive and live, it all comes from others, individuals' hard work, hardship. So therefore, you're being thankful for them, and you're being, changing your wishing of happiness for others, and try to liberate their suffering. And finally, the fourth one that GAMPOPA mentioned here is the not knowing the method of enlightenment. So that means that we have not done something bad, but then still we are stuck in samsara and experiencing all these sufferings. And why is that? It's because we do not know how to practice accordingly. We do not know what are the methods that will bring us closer to our enlightenment. And therefore, GAMPOPA did mention here that we need to understand what are the methods that will, lead us to the perfect and complete Buddhahood. So among these 4 different type of obstacles that GAMPOPA said, we are overpowered by all 4 these different types of obstacles. Therefore, we are still in samsara. So among these 4, we have already studied the first 3, and now we are focusing on the 4th one. We are trying to know the method of enlightenment, or method to enlightenment, how we can attain enlightenment. In order to attain enlightenment, what do we need to know? We need to study, we need to practice. So here, processes are the same. First, we need to hear what are these different methods. Study them. Then contemplate whether these methods are relevant or not, whether these methods make sense to you or not. You have all choices. You have the right to choose. You have the right to decide with your own intelligence. There's no any kind of force whatsoever from external phenomena. You should be the one who should be judging whether these teachings of the Buddha is accurate, relevant to you or not. This freedom has given to us by Buddha himself. So therefore, we should first listen these teachings, these methods, and contemplate its meaning. And then finally, if this teaching makes sense to you, then we should implement these teachings into our day-to-day life. So in the presentations of this, the fourth point here, introduction to the antidote to not knowing the method of practice, or not knowing the method to enlightenment, what GAMPOPA mentioned here is that he explains, what are the methods. Here he says, this will explain the dharma of cultivating the mind towards supreme enlightenment as the antidote to not knowing the method of the practice of achieving Buddhahood. So there are different methods one should apply it. Then because of that, we'll be able to attain enlightenment. So here, in the summary, foundation, essence, classifications, objectives, cause, from whom you receive it, method, beneficial effects, disadvantages of losing it, the cause of losing it, method of repairing it, and trainings. So there are 12 different subtopics, which comprises these cultivations of bodhicitta, which is the antidote to not knowing the method of practice. So if you want to attain to complete Buddhahood, what you need to know is you need to know bodhicitta. So this is what GAMPOPA is mentioning here. So we are now trying to understand bodhicitta. So as GAMPOPA mentions here, there are subtopics, 12 subtopics here in this particular subject of practicing bodhicitta or developing bodhicitta. So among these 12 subtopics, we have already completed all the 11, and now we are focusing on the trainings. What are the trainings of bodhicitta? So before that, we should remember what is bodhicitta then. Bodhicitta is a very powerful and this is very well-known teaching of Mahayana, and it is always talked about bodhicitta, and we always generate bodhicitta every time before our sessions, after refuge prayers, which is very, very important. But are we really focusing what we are chanting? Are we really focusing? Are we really making, kind of awareness of ourselves? Are we really being mindful what we are praying, what we are chanting, of generating bodhicitta? That we need to examine ourselves. So we should not just waste time just repeating, bodhicitta verses, bodhicitta repetitions, but also at the same time, really feel it, what you are saying, and feel the importance of, other sentient beings need to be freeing them from suffering of samsara. You should really feel the importance of liberation for all sentient beings from suffering of samsara, especially this time of pandemic. You should really make a good wish every time when you do sessions. When you generate bodhicitta, you should really focus on the suffering of all these individuals, all these people around you who are, overpowered, who are under these conditions of pandemic, who have lost family, friends, spouse, children, parents, job. All these things are not pleasure at all. These are all sufferings that we are witnessing, and because of that reason, we need to generate genuine bodhicitta for them. And as I said earlier, is there any possibilities that you can help? you shouldn't hesitate. You should go and help others. But there may some time where you are not able to do anything. At that time, what we can do is make a very genuine good aspirations, not just repeating the repetitions, but also feeling from your own heart, bottom of your heart, what you're really praying for, and imagining all sentient beings who are suffering from this pandemic in front of you, and try to, give your merits, share your merits, dedication prayers for the benefit of their karma, to purify their karma, and to wish them to have a good life. And all those who are behind them, who are alive, may also wish them they will free from this pain and suffering as soon as possible. So this are very important at this time. As a practitioner of the Buddha Dharma, we should not, forget these importances. We should not just chant words, but also the trying to focus on the meaning of what we are chanting. Even it is just a meditation session, we meditate Tonglen, giving and taking. It's also very powerful actually. So this kind of practice, if in case we are not able to help physically, then these are kind of advisable practices that which you can apply it in our day-to-day practice. Okay, so the Bodhichitta, genuine wish to bring all sentient beings into Buddhahood or benefiting Buddhahood, sentient beings. And in order to do so, one need to attain Buddhahood. If you have not attained Buddhahood, then even though if you're trying to benefit sentient beings, you have all the limitations, you have all these hardships and obstacles in your path. But once you attain Buddhahood, then after that, benefiting sentient beings is very easy with all these qualities that you have attained, especially clairvoyance. Thereby, we will be able to benefit so many beings without much effort. So therefore, this is what is targeted here, attainment of Buddhahood for the benefit of sentient beings. But also, while you follow the path, also there's a practice of benefiting sentient beings. Having said that, we now focus on the trainings of the Bodhichitta. So here, what are the trainings of Bodhichitta then? We should be, before we reach enlightenment, there are trainings that we need to train while we accumulate merits and wisdom. And then obviously at the end, you will have more power, you have more abilities, wisdom, thereby you are able to benefit so many beings. But before that, we still need to practice these trainings. And there are 6 trainings which are known as 6 paramitas, which are quite familiar, quite famous practice, the 6 paramitas. So among the 6 paramitas, we have completed first, second, third, and fourth paramitas. Now we'll be talking about the 5th paramita, that is the concentration or meditative concentration. So before we talk about meditative concentration, we should know that the other paramitas. Why are other paramitas are mentioned here? For example, the first paramita, that is the dana paramita or generosity. It is important that we need to, share our knowledge, share our wisdom, share our wealth, share our food, clothing, shelter, whatever we have, for the benefit of sentient beings, because our goal is to benefit all sentient beings. So while you practice in the path, you also need to practice benefiting sentient beings. And the best way of benefiting sentient beings is practicing generosity. This is one way of, purifying your stinginess. At the same time, it will bring more joyfulness within yourself by sharing what you have done to others, what you have, as per your capacity. So here, since many sentient beings are suffering, since there are many beings who need our help, therefore, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas mentioned this first paramita, the Dana paramita, as the first paramita here, labeling this as in the sequence, this is the first paramita because there are more sentient beings who need help. So therefore, we need to focus on the practice of generosity. And then second paramita, okay, only practicing generosity is not enough to attain enlightenment. Obviously, when you see the suffering of others, you practice generosity, very good. But you also need to tame your mind. So in order to tame your mind, what we need to do is we need to discipline ourselves. And that is the second paramita, discipline or the morality. And here, we just can't tame our mind right away. So in order to support this taming of our mind, what we need to have is we need to discipline our body and speech. So the way how we can discipline our body and speech is through following the trainings of the second paramita here, the morality. And here, Buddha talk about, how to restrain your body and how to restrain your speech from non-virtuous acts. Restraining from your body from killing, restraining your body from stealing, restrain your body from engagement in sexual misconduct, and likewise restraining your speech from telling lie, gossip, divisive speech, and so forth. So this is how we can train ourselves. This will support us through your body and speech. This will support your mental, purification. And this is how one is advised to implement the second paramita of focusing on the restraint from non-virtuous act through body and speech. Likewise, mind, obviously. Then we have the third paramita, which is patience. In order to practice generosity, in order to practice morality, what we need to have is we need to have patience, because everything does not work as according to your wish. There will be lots of different beliefs. There will be lots of different ideas. There will be lots of different challenges. There will be lots of different point of views, and there will be lots of disappointments as well, because we are all sentient beings and we are all ordinary beings, and we are not free from negative afflictions and emotions. So therefore, practicing patience is very, very important. If you lose your patience, then the anger overpowers you. Anger do take place, and then it will ruin our dharma activity. It will ruin our practice of the virtuous act. So therefore, third paramita here is also very important, that we should practice patience, and then we should know why we need to practice patience. The reason, these are all very logical trainings here that GAMPOPA mentioned here. He just not tell you just be patient, but he will also tell you why we need to be patient. What are the beneficial effects of practicing patience? What are the disadvantages of getting angry? All are very practical here. And then next we have this fourth paramita, is the paramita of diligence or perseverance. So all these earlier trainings of generosity, trainings of morality, trainings of patience, for all these things, what we need to have is we need to have perseverance or diligence. Otherwise, it will not continue. If you are in good mood, you practice dharma, you practice generosity, you practice morality, you have patience. But then what happens next when you are not in good mood? Then you'll forget, you'll not continue, you'll get angry, you'll agitated with different ideas and thoughts. So there's always there's a disturbance when your practice is not continued. There is some other thing will take place in between and cuts your chain of practice. So therefore, the fourth paramita is also equally important here, the practice of diligence. Okay, so these are the 4 paramitas that we have learned last year. So this year, we start from practice of meditative concentration, which is also a key practice of the Buddha Dharma. Because without meditation or without meditative concentration, there is no way one can able to attain insight or the wisdom. Wisdom do take place on the good basis, good foundations of samadhi or meditative concentration. So now we are now coming into the real kind of training here. Earlier our supportive practicing generosity is to accumulations of merit as well as purifications of your negative karma. Likewise, practice of morality is also to support you from your to your taming of your mind, cultivations of your mind through body and physical forms. And then also we have practice of patience. These are more like physical form of practice or to support our practice. And why we are practicing these trainings is in order to have good concentration, meditative concentration. If we have good, strong, stable meditative concentration, then on that basis, your wisdom will take place. Your wisdom will flourish. So therefore, this meditative concentration is very much important here. This is more to do with our mental, with our mind. Less to do with our physical, but more to do with our mind. So therefore, this practice is also very important. If you do not have meditative concentration, if you do not focus, if you do not have the habit of focusing one-pointedly, then what happens is that you are scattered with different thoughts. Thousands of thoughts will take place, and then you lose your focus. And if you lose your focus, then you are not connected, you're not concentrated. And when you are not connected and concentrated, you make lots of mistakes, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly. So therefore, in order to purify all these different, scattered thoughts or any kind, non-virtuous or virtuous, we need to practice meditative concentration. When you have meditative concentration, stable meditative concentration, then whatever you do, you'll be able to focus and continue, and which have more, kind of strong, stable foundation, which will not just be just a kind of short encouragements or short kind of diligence. It will have more kind of stability is more stronger here, meditative concentration. So if you have no experience of meditative concentration, then that is the hardest part. Sometimes we think that when you focus, when you try to go into puja or when you do meditation, you fall asleep, or either we fall asleep soon, either we fall asleep, or we are distracted with different thoughts. Our mind is scattered again, externally or internally or externally. So therefore, we are not focused there. Even though your body is in the shrine home or in your meditation room, you are not really there because you are scattered. You are agitated by different thoughts. So here, in order to concentrate, we need to practice this fifth paramita, the paramita of meditative concentration. If your mind is not focused, if your mind is not protected, there's a great risk of falling into the fangs of non-virtuous obstacles, defilements. So when you are not being careful, there's always chance that you'll make non-virtuous act, that you'll always make mistakes. So in order to protect yourself from falling into the fangs of defilements, you need to practice meditative concentration. So here, meditative concentration should understand into two ways: your body and your mind. So if you want to do meditation, first thing is that obviously when your meditation is very advanced, then it's okay. But before, as a beginner, if you want to do meditation, what you need is first you need to free from physical agitations, lots of noises, lots of duties and responsibilities. So if you are staying in a town, or if you are staying in a family where you have to contribute many of your time, attention towards many different responsibilities, then you cannot really focus on meditative concentration as a beginner. So therefore, we go into retreat, weekend retreats. We forget our business, our family for some short time, our business, our company. Just we switch off our mobile, and then we go into weekend retreats. And when you come out from that retreat, you feel very fresh, you feel very peaceful, you're calm, you have this calm, abiding state of mind. You can focus more, you're fresh, you're not disturbed, you're not agitated. This is because physical, you need to also distance your physical from the hustles and bustles of the town life. Therefore, monasteries are built in mountains. The main reason why monasteries are built on mountains or built where it is far from town or village is because it will support your meditation. So you need to free from the physical agitations. And then once you are at the retreat center or in monastery, then next thing is you need to free yourself from the mental agitations or agitation or mental factors or mental thoughts of the past, thoughts of future. So if you are dragged away by different thoughts of past or lots of thoughts of future, of planning of your business and all, then even though your body is not with your family, your body is not in town, your body is not with your company or office, but still you are already connected with these hustles and bustles, with these agitations, then you are not meditating at all. So in order to meditate, in order to have meditative concentration, you need to free from two things: free from physical agitations of responsibilities, families, friends, and whatsoever. And then you need to free from your mental agitations of scattering your mind into past and future. So these are very important here. Okay, so here GAMPOPA says in chapter 16, the perfections of meditative concentration. The summary: reflections on the faults and virtues, definition, classification, characteristic of each of classification, increase, perfections, and the result. So these 7 comprise the perfections of meditative concentration. So in each chapter, in each paramita, the presentations that made by GAMPOPA are here in a similar manner. First, he talked about reflections on the faults of not having meditative concentration. Then he tells us that reflecting on the virtues of having meditative concentration. Then what is concentration, the definitions of concentration, and how many types of concentrations are there, the classifications of concentration, and then characteristic of each of those classifications of meditative concentrations. Then how we can increase our meditative concentrations, and how we can perfect our meditative concentrations, and finally, what is the result that one will be witnessing after this meditative concentration. So the presentations are in a similar manner. The first one, the reflection on the faults and the virtue. GAMPOPA says here, even though you may have the practices of generosity and so forth, generosity, morality, patience, perseverance, so forth, it is called scattered if you are without meditative concentration. Obviously, since even though you practice generosity, but if your mind is not concentrated, if your mind is agitated by different thoughts, then you're not there, you're not focusing there. even though you're practicing generosity, it is there may be risks of involvement of non-virtuous thoughts like greed or like pride or like show off or computations of generosity, like, oh, he has donated this much of wealth and I'll do more than that. All these things will come in without, if you do not have this meditative concentration, because you're agitated by different thoughts, you're scattered by different thoughts. Under the influence of scattering, your mind is wounded by fangs of the afflicting emotions, like I said. So then these negative afflictions and emotion will do occur, even though you are practicing Dharma, even though you are practicing generosity, even though you are practicing morality, even though you are practicing perseverance. If your mind is not controlled, if you cannot, control your mind, if you do not have the experience of meditative concentration, then there's always possibilities, there's always chances of non-virtuous act or negative afflictions, afflicting emotions will to occur, and then it will ruin your virtuous act. It looks like virtue, but then it is the involvement of non-virtuous thought at the same time. Like I said before, if you want to practice generosity, if there's a pride involved, then that's, in fact, it's not real dharma, it's not real virtuous, because it is it comes with the non-virtuous thought. It looks like virtuous act, but then there's always the kind of mental afflicted mind. Engaging in the contract of Bodhisattva says, for the man whose mind is distracted, dwells between the fangs of afflicting emotions. So once you are not able to control your mind, there's always risk of falling into downfalls. So when you are able to control your mind, then no one can destroy you. No one can, overpower you, because you are very stable. Your mind is very stable, and you are focused, and you know what you are doing. So furthermore, without meditative concentration, you cannot achieve clairvoyance. And without clairvoyance, you cannot benefit others. That's for sure. So all these, qualities in the practice of the Dharma, and when you, attend paths and bhumis, there are different types of qualities that one will witness and one will gain. Like one of them is clairvoyance. So clairvoyance, if you have clairvoyance, you'll be able to read someone's mind. You'll be able to know what individual needs, For now, as an individual now, ordinary being, even though you want to help or benefit others, you don't know which thing will be beneficial for them, or what are they thinking, what are their requirements. You don't really know. You just guess, but you don't know. You can't read their mind. But when you have clairvoyance, you'll be able to read others' mind, and you'll be able to, convey the most important thing that they require, which makes more sense, actually. Perfect kind of benefiting sentient beings. So if you do not have meditative concentration, then there's no way, or there's no chance that you'll be able to develop clairvoyance. That is why, if you want to clairvoyance, you need to meditation concentration. You need to meditate. And when you do not have clairvoyance, then you cannot benefit sentient beings in a more perfect way. That's why it says here, without accomplishment of calm abiding, one cannot achieve clairvoyance. Likewise, without power of clairvoyance, one cannot benefit sentient beings. This is one thing. Then second thing is, if you do not have meditative concentration, then what will happen is that, again, without meditative concentration, you cannot achieve wisdom awareness. So in order to have wisdom awareness, to know the truth of nature, truth of phenomena, you need to have meditative concentration. If you really want to witness and attain shunyata, or emptiness, you need to have meditative concentration. without meditative concentration, there's no way one be able to achieve shunyata or realizations of shunyata or emptiness. And without wisdom awareness, without realizing of the dharma nature or dharma dhatu or shunyata, there's no way one will be able to achieve enlightenment, perfect enlightenment. So therefore, with all these reasons, then you can see that how important it is to have meditation concentration, meditative concentration, or this fifth paramita. The letter to a friend says that without meditative concentration, one cannot achieve wisdom awareness. And without meditative wisdom awareness, one cannot achieve enlightenment. On the other hand, when you have meditative concentration, you will be able to give up attachment to the impure subjects, impure objects. You will achieve clairvoyance, and many doors of meditative concentration will open for your mind. Here, when you have meditative concentration, then you will not so pay much attention towards those sensual objects, because you do see that they are temporary, they are subject of change, they are suffering of change. So you will not pay so much attention to the importance of this lifetime. And also, you will not pay so much importance to the pleasure of samsara. And because you know these are temporary, this will not follow you when you leave this world. So rather, you focus more on the stable, more permanent beneficial effects that that you will be witnessing, and you will work more on those values than the this lifetime's values. So therefore, it is said that when you have meditative concentration, you will give up attachment to impure subjects like sensual objects, like form, beautiful form, sound, smell, taste, and texture. So you will not pay so much attention to these things. That is why you can see different yogis, they live very simple life. They do not require so much things, but they're still very happy, very joyful. You can see the shine in their face. And when you have conversation with them, they do not talk about other people's, they do not mind other people's business. They're always very peaceful state of mind, calm, abiding state of mind. They always think pure. They always are shining, and they are always in the meditative concentration. They do not focus more on the external phenomena. That's why it says here. So when you're able to meditate well and have meditative concentration, then you'll give up attachment to impure objects like sensual objects. And when you have achieved, and obviously on the basis of clear meditative concentration, you'll be able to achieve clairvoyance. And when you are able to achieve clairvoyance, many doors to meditation will open up, and then you'll be able to benefit so many beings, sentient beings. Again, when you have meditative concentration, wisdom awareness will arise, and your afflicting emotion will be abolished. So when you have wisdom awareness, that is the remedy to the negative afflictions and emotions. So that's why it said here, your afflicting emotions will be abolished. Having understood that afflicting emotions are completely overcome by the pure insight endowed with calm abiding. So when you have this meditative concentration, you'll be able to achieve this wisdom awareness. This is what it meant here. When you have perfect meditative concentration, you have a special perfect insight and will develop compassion for all sentient beings. So when your meditative concentration is good, stable, perfect, then obviously you'll be able to develop wisdom. And when you develop wisdom, you will develop compassion at the same time. Because when you develop wisdom of shunyata, then you'll develop compassion toward those individuals who do not know this reality, who are still overpowered by ignorance, who still believe that things do exist as they appear, who still thinks that things are permanent, who still thinks that samsara is pleasurable thing, then this bodhisattva who have attained to wisdom awareness will be able to develop compassion toward those individuals who do not have this wisdom awareness and who are still suffering because of this ignorance, avidya. So that is why it is said here, you will develop compassion for sentient beings. Then you will not hesitate to go and help them and enlighten them with words of wisdom, showing them things are impermanence, things are nature of change, things are emptiness, things do not exist as they appear to be. Everything's interdependent, everything occurs according to cause and conditions. They do not have their own a single entity, so to speak. So this is how you liberate sentient beings, by showing the Dharma, showing the wisdom. Otherwise, they are always, suffering in the cycle of samsara by ignorance. Remember the two links. The first one is ignorance, and because of ignorance, we are suffering in samsara non-stop. It's a cycle of existence. So here, the accomplishment of Dharmadhatu Sutra says, through mental absorption, one will see the reality perfectly. So mental absorption means meditative concentration. You'll be able to see the nature of the phenomena perfectly. Their seeing is the seeing of emptiness nature of phenomena as it is. By seeing all reality perfectly as it is, Bodhisattva will develop great compassion towards all sentient beings who do not have seen this perfectly. Again, when you have meditative concentration, you can establish all trainees in enlightenment, because now you have the ability. You're not as ordinary being, because you have already realized the wisdom awareness. And because of that capacity, that ability, you'll be able to benefit so many beings. Okay, so that's why it is here. It's more important, the beneficial effects of meditative concentrations. The ornament of Mahayana Sutra says, through meditative concentration, all the sentient beings will be established in the three types of enlightenment. So after realizations of shunyata, or the wisdom awareness, one will be able to benefit sentient beings by showing them the truth. Like Buddha did, showing the Four Noble Truths after his enlightenment, in order to benefit sentient beings, in order to clarify sentient beings' ignorance, he showed this Four Noble Truths. Likewise here, we'll be able to, in future, once we attain this wisdom awareness, we'll be able to benefit sentient beings by showing these truths. And by that, we'll be able to bring sentient beings into three different types of nirvana according to individual's wish. Hearers, liberations of hearer, liberations of Partika Buddha, liberations of Bodhisattvas. So step by step, you'll be able to bring them into perfect and complete enlightenment. Okay, so with this good note here, I would like to stop here for today's session, and would like to thank you very much for your participation. I'm very sorry that I forgot to recite Refuge and Bodhichitta recitations in the beginning of this session. And obviously we are talking about Bodhichitta, so I think that includes there too. And now I would like to make dedication prayers, especially to heal this pandemic as soon as possible, if there's any possibilities. And we should all make aspiration together as a Sangha community for the benefit of all sentient beings. Thank you. So namde tamje sigba nye tomne nye be dranam pamche ne kega na che palap trubai. Sibe tsole dowan dowar sho janjo simcho rimboche ma ke panam kegereche keba nyamba meba. Gongme gongdo pewar sho semjen neba jingye ba nyurdo nele takiroche trawe nene maleba. Tado jungwa neba sho geri tongda gaju shiwada midune meke namjawada. Tumban Roshi, Punzum Soyu, Betrashi, Degang Deng, Dele, Show.